Hi everyone, this is Alexandra from Hear Me Roar, and welcome to Cacao Talk episode 12. Let the tears flow and be kind to yourself. But first, cacao. So let's all take a sip. Today I added the spicy honey again, just really loving the sweetness, obviously, of the honey, and then just a slight hint of spiciness right behind it. It's really good. I love combining chocolate and spice, so I really love and appreciate this. Okay, so today's topic, let the tears flow and be kind to yourself. This topic was really inspired by honestly what I went through yesterday. So if you guys have been watching from the first episode, when I first came and started doing Cacao Talk, obviously I'm doing this for fun. It's a great fun way of just being able to share, my love of cacao and then just share with you guys the inspirations I get, the things I've learned, the things that others teach me on a daily basis, just life experiences and just how I navigate through life and how I've been inspired by how others navigate life, right? So my goal had been to do Cacao Talk for the month of September. And I'm actually thinking that I'm going to go ahead and do it up until I leave for my training in October, since I will be away and doing some content creation for almost 2 weeks. But yesterday, I did not do Cacao Talk. So I actually skipped a day. And I will have to admit, there was a little bit of guilt, and a little bit of like, oh, I said I was going to do it. And honestly, it was more like, I had told myself I was going to do it. There is a little bit of like, okay, well, I said it on camera and it's out there that I was going to do it. But again, I mean, like, there's no one coming to my door and saying, hey, you skipped a day, right? But also just like in myself, like, hey, Alex, you said you were going to do this, right? So basically what came up right now is I am in a phase right now where I'm being asked to purge some emotions, right? Some old narratives, some paradigms, shift some things. And like I've shared in some of my other episodes, one of the ways that I tend to just purge is through tears. Tears is a big way. Another way I shared is I do my trembling, I do a static dance and movement and connect to tantric energies. And then I tend to shake and shiver. And that's another way that I process traumas and stuff. And I woke up yesterday morning. And if you watched episode 11, you also know that I'm a few days away from my period. And so, yes, we can, collectively attribute to just being very emotional and vulnerable. I was trying to combine those two words, emotional and vulnerable right now, but it is what it is. This is where I am right now. And sometimes this does happen to me, not necessarily because it's that time of the month, but just because, there's a big shift happening in my life, whether it's something as we perceive good or bad, by the way. So anyways, I'll get back to that in a second. So I woke up yesterday in the morning and I felt that it was going to need to be one of those days that I really took some time for solitude and for self-care, and when I mean, let the tears flow and be kind to yourself, that's what I mean. It's so important, whether it is, if you are a woman, it is, you're about to get your period and you're in that phase of, that, the crying is just, you're just very sensitive in that moment to need that purge, or whether you're a man or a woman and you're just going through life and all of a sudden you're feeling that overwhelm, right? So I woke up in the morning, I felt a little bit more anxious than usual. And after I dropped into my body, I was like, okay, today is going to be one of those days where I'm just going to want to stay inside. If I do go outside, maybe to nature, maybe not, interact with too many people, and just kind of listen to myself and see what I need. And yeah, there were random moments where, I wasn't necessarily sad, but emotion needed to be released, and I even remember yesterday morning waking up and I was drinking my coffee and I was just looking out the window and, I wasn't really even thinking anything. I was just relaxing. And then all of a sudden I felt the tears literally just falling out of my face. And it wasn't like I was actively crying. I was like, oh, wow, there really is this is a beautiful opportunity, right? For emotions to be released. And just, again, like I always say, for me to just be witness, for me to hold a container. And the narrative talk, the negative narrative self-talk is so important, because I did catch myself a couple of times being like, hey, Alex, well, at least you're going to do Cacao Talk, right? Like, well, Alex, at least you're going to do this and you're going to do that today. Like, even though I knew what I needed yesterday was just to be present and yes, get some things done. There was a lot of like, well, you're going to, right? And you should, and like you should. And yeah, I'm still, as you can tell, I'm still a little off. But today I was actually really inspired to come on camera, and I guess just to kind of show that, yeah, we do have off days. And it's just, I don't know, I feel it now as such a great opportunity to show more self-love, to really be a friend to ourselves. Like, there's such a difference between like motivation and inspiration, and also just, like the tough love versus like unconditional love. And I've just decided more to step into a space where I'm loving myself the way I've always wanted to be loved, but for whatever reason felt that it was unsafe or I was unworthy. Or we also say that it's so much easier to do that for a friend than ourselves, right? And so there were moments yesterday where I caught myself really being like, hey, you really should do this, or hey, get up and do this, and well, at least do this, and it's just a little pivot in the tone, and I kind of pivoted a little bit how the energy behind it. And I was more than I decided to check in with myself, take a breath and say, okay, I hear that you need time right now. I hear that you're needing to purge. Okay. In that, would you like to, it was like, I'm inviting myself, would you like to still record Cacao Talk? If it had felt like, yes, that still feels like something I want to do, then I would have encouraged myself to do that, right? But the answer was no. And so in that moment, it's how I speak to myself that then, dictates the next moment and how I show up with self-love and acceptance. And so it's choices that we make in life of, how we're going to treat ourselves, how we're going to inspire ourselves, how we're going to love ourselves. And at the end of the day, I mean, I just choose to love myself. It's not always easy, in the sense that it's not easy to love myself. I do love myself. And I even commented to a friend yesterday of like, I love how I'm loving myself right now. Like, I never even thought about that in my life before. Like a few years ago, I wasn't even like consciously like mindful of how am I loving myself, right? But then when I started looking at and bringing some self-reflection of how I was loving myself, there were definitely ways that I found out that I was like, yeah, I don't want to be loved like that. Like, that's not how I love others. I want to love myself how I allow myself to love others, right? And so it was just a really nice opportunity yesterday to just be like, Alex, like, take today off, let the tears flow, let the emotion flow, let yourself purge, And back to what I'm saying, like, sometimes this happens, like right now it's happening because of that time of the month. But sometimes this also happens when something really heavy and a big transition is going on. And this also happens when things are going really well. It's again, going back to what I was saying a few episodes again, of like, we have our container energy full. And if we're asking life for more things, if we're wanting to grow and evolve, whether it's healing for something or manifesting, things in our lives, we need to make room for that. And so however we find ourselves needing to purge those emotions, needing to empty that container out of the old narratives and the old paradigms that no longer will be a strong foundation for the new things that come in, I really do feel that it's very important, and I think I will even say very crucial, to be able to then free ourselves to allow those new changes in. And it's also, you'll get there also sooner if you allow yourself to be kind to yourself. If you allow that inner dialogue to be encouraging and inspiring and caring, versus like judging yourself and being, come on, just get out of the couch and go do this. Like, yeah, that may work for some people, but like at some point, like I feel that's not really being unconditional living to ourselves, you know? So I just really wanted to get back in the swing of things and, you know, record another Cacao Talk. I can feel that the energy of this one is just a little bit different than the other days, just mainly because I'm still in the processing of some of the stuff that is coming up. I feel this may linger for another day or two, but like I said, I'm really loving the way I'm loving myself right now, and I'm seeing the benefit of just allowing the tears to flow, just meaning also just allowing the emotions to come up. There really is no need to analyze anything right now. There isn't anything like, as things come up, I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Or what should I learn from that? Like, this is not the phase for that. This is one of those phases where the work has been done, like the internal work has been done. And it's just now a physical expression of the release of that, right? And so I'm just giving myself that time to release it, however it needs to come up, without judgment or without analyzing, but just from a space of love and acceptance, you know? So I'm sure that some of you, whoever's meant to hear this, will hear it and take from it what they're meant to. But yes, thank you for listening and just going with the flow of the emotions and the processing and phase I am right now. Thank you guys so much for joining today. As usual, you're more than welcome to leave comments or questions below, or suggestions for other topics. Thank you again. Enjoy your cacao, and I will see you guys tomorrow.